Hello, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to the Chatting with Chichi show. Wow, again, as always, I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited also to have you guys as well on board. So I'm gonna wait for a few seconds. I won't go for minutes. I'll wait for a few seconds, and then we will get started. But happy Sunday to you. Thank you, Titilayo. You are the first to join us today. Thank you. Good evening. How are you doing? How are you? Fantastic. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Really appreciate it. I can see a few more people joining as well. Welcome to the Chatting with Chichi show. It's the 31st episode today. And as usual, excitement is all I can say. Excitement with a bit of I'll share some news to you as well as we start the show. But welcome everyone. Give me a shout out if you're once you're on board, so I can say hello to you as well. Okay. I'm excited to be here. Yes, I'm excited as well that you're here as well, Titilayo. Thank you so much. And how's the family? How's the family? Good, good, good. Well, we are going to be, the topic today is quite, I don't want to use the word personal, but it's quite deep. It's quite deep today. I want us to have a chat. I really want us to have a chat. Hi, Tony. How are you doing? It was so nice meeting you on Thursday. How are you? Good, good. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. I think it's your first time live, isn't it, on our show today, but thank you for joining. And I hope you're going to enjoy it as well as we do. Thank you so much for joining. Well, I think let's get started. Let's give ourselves another second or so, or 2 seconds, and then we will get started. Okay. So the Chatting with Chichi show, what are we talking about today? Are you saying yes or are you saying no to your life? And I will kind of give you the kind of reason why I'm actually talking about this topic today. And that reason is quite personal, but we'll share that here today, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, we'll talk about it. So yes, welcome to the Chatting with Chichi show. As usual, excitement, appreciation. I'm very appreciative to each and every one of you for joining us here today on the 31st episode of the Chatting with Chichi show. Now, I was going to say, just normally as I like to introduce the Chatting with Chichi show, if this is your first time of joining us on the Chatting with Chichi show, what is really the Chatting with Chichi show all about? It's a chat show. It's an inspirational chat show that is brought to you intentionally at the start of every week. At the start of every week, we like to start the week with some inspiration. Inspiration, not just inspiration to get you on an inspirational high. It's inspiration to get you started. Inspiration to get you to press that reset button. Inspiration to get you to start again. Inspiration to get you to just keep moving, to keep going, and to never give up. Hi, Ronkeposh, how you doing? No, it's the 31st, 33-1. Yeah, so 6 more weeks we'll be on that. We'll be on the 37th. Yeah. How are you? Happy Sunday to you. So that's what really the Chatting with Chichi show is all about. An intentional show to start at the beginning of the week, to kind of get you to press that reset button, to get you to say, you know what, I'm going to keep on doing this no matter what. I'm going to face this challenge no matter what. It's that inspiration. We don't want ourselves to just be inspired and just stay on that inspirational high. It's inspired to take actions, inspired to become better, inspired to communicate better with ourselves and with others, inspired to go out there and take actions. That's really what the Chatting with Chichi show is all about. So thank you guys again for joining. Rachel, how are you doing? And congratulations on your half marathon run. I need to come join you. Thank you. Well done on that. Thank you so much. Yes, Tony, good to see you there. Good to see you as well again. Good to see you. So really today, guys, just over the weekend, I got some very sad news from a family friend of mine that died. A very young girl, not up to 4, not in her 30s, early 30s, that died after a surgery. And I'm kind of dedicating this episode to her. Very untimely death. Very young, beautiful, the only girl in her family, the baby girl of her family. And I'm dedicating this to her. May her soul rest in peace. Adobe Asakwe. So that's kind of the reason why I'm talking about, are we saying yes to our lives? Life is so unpredictable. No one is guaranteed tomorrow. And the fact that no one is guaranteed tomorrow means, what are you doing about your life today? Are you saying yes to your life, or are you saying no to your life? And remember, when I ask this question, are you saying yes to your life? Many of us are going to raise our hands up and say, of course, we're saying yes to our lives. Oh, yes, we're saying yes to our lives. If I ask you now, do you ever say no to your life? You're going to tell me, no way. I don't say no to my life. I always say yes to my life. But guess what? When we allow excuses to win in our lives, we're actually saying no to our lives. And so today, the show is going to be more about what can we do with these excuses that come over and come and actually win in our lives, and what can we do about them? How can we get past the excuses in our lives so that we start saying yes to our lives over and over again? Hi Olayomi, thank you so much for sharing. Guys, yes, if you can share the video, that would be great. That would be great. Hi Ify, thank you for joining as well. If you can share the video, that will be great. There's a lot of people that need to hear this, where we need to start being able to overpower or overcome these excuses that come in our lives. And these excuses that come in our lives, we actually make these excuses up. And the excuses that come in our minds can be so justifiable. They're so real. They seem so true, and yet they are the things that are stopping us from saying yes to our lives. Thank you so much, Ify. And Angela, thank you so much for joining as well. Thank you so much. So that's what we're going to kind of look at today. How can we get rid of these excuses? Or how can we overcome these excuses? How can we take over these excuses? How can we win? Actually, that's the word. How can we win over these excuses? Because the more we allow excuses to win over us, the more we're saying no to our lives. And this is a period, this is a season where we should say more yeses to our lives than no. The more we allow excuses to empower, not to empower us, but the more we allow excuses to win over our lives, that's the more we're actually saying no to our lives. So today and this week, as we go forward, it's all about saying yes to our lives. And we say yes to our lives by taking actions, by getting rid of those excuses, and by winning over those excuses. So that's kind of what we're going to look at today in our on this show. And remember, this is Chatting with Chichi, so it's all about dialogues. We're talking, we're sharing our comments, because I told you guys last week that I've got a lot of feedback about comments. Comments really do help other people who are watching it live or even watching the replay, so it does help. Maureen, I think I saw you as well join. Thank you so much for joining as well. Happy Sunday to you, and happy Sunday to everyone that has joined so far. And if I haven't called out your name, I do apologize. Thank you so much if I've missed you. Karimot, thank you so much for joining as well. I really appreciate you guys joining. And Mina as well, thank you. Good evening. Happy Sunday to you. So we're talking about how we can say yes, and how we can consistently say yes to our lives. It's so important. A lot of times, and as I said at the beginning, if I ask you now, do you say no to your life? Even I'm going to say no. I don't say no to my life. You know, I'm saying yes to my life. But do your excuses win over you sometimes? And I'm sure the answer is going to be yes, like it is for everyone. Hi, Joy. Thank you for joining. And Felicia as well. Thank you for joining. So it's important that we get to this and nip this in the bud. Hi, T. How are you? Good evening. Happy Sunday to you too. Thank you so much for joining. So we're going to look at what are we doing with the excuses in our lives? What kind of excuses do you actually see yourself come up with? And I want you to share that in the box if you don't mind. What excuses have you seen yourself tell yourself in this past week? There's so many excuses that we tell ourselves. I'm not good enough. I'm not ready. I'm a woman. I'm in my 40s. I'm in my 30s. I'm in my 20s. I think every age has got an excuse. I'm not ready for this. I'm not experienced. I'm not good looking enough. I'm not, I don't talk well. Will they say yes? They may not say yes. They may not say, so many excuses come into our minds. And what we want to get rid of today, or what we want to see today, or what we want to gain today, are how we can actually win over those excuses. And if you've got any tips, please do share those tips with us here, so that we can actually have more people to learn from this. Because to be honest, the way excuses are, excuses really are When they win over our lives, we are saying no to our lives, and we don't want to say no to our lives anymore. I think that's the key in this situation. We don't want to say no to our lives anymore. We must be able to win over those excuses so that we say yes to our lives over and over again. As I said earlier on, I lost my friend, a family friend, very good friend to all of us, and it's time for us to start thinking about how can we stop saying no to our lives and saying yes to our lives and making the most of our lives, guys, because no one is guaranteed tomorrow. So that's kind of the key behind it. I'm just going to scroll down a little bit because, as I said, it's all about chatting. Lady M, Maureen, when people are faced with very difficult situations and they find no solutions to their problems and no one to talk to about. Yes, that is another thing as well. When people don't share what the problems that they've got. Yes, I definitely agree with that, Maureen. And it's important that we share. Yes, definitely. I'll start tomorrow was my excuse. So I had a meeting with myself and made a decision to start. That's Angela. Yes, I know. I'll start tomorrow. Mine was I'll start this morning. I was supposed to do something last night and I said, okay, I'll do it in the morning. And in the morning I had other things to do and I had to now grab some time this evening to get it done. So we do have loads and loads of excuses, but how do we win over these excuses? How do we win over those excuses? And that's what we want to kind of look at today. And then I'm going to talk about some actions and what actions really means to each and every one of us. So let's go so that we don't spend too much time. So I've talked about the different kind of actions and the different kind of excuses that we come up with. Hi Chi, how are you doing? Good evening. I've talked about a lot of the excuses that we come up with. We should believe in ourselves more. Yes, exactly. And it's every day, Rachel, isn't it? Yes, we've got to believe more in ourselves than Rachel says, and that is so true. So what we want to look at today is we want to kind of look at excuses in two different ways. Excuses actually are our minds, and I think I don't know if I shared this last week, but our minds do play tricks with us. Our minds are so comfortable in our comfort zone. Our minds want us to do things that are comfortable. Our minds don't want us to take risks. You know, every time that you do something that is different, your mind is always like cautious, like, are you sure you want to do this? Are you really sure you want to do this? Oh, this may not work. Oh, this may not work. Our minds are always playing these games with us. And that's why we come up with all these excuses, because these excuses come up to justify why we shouldn't do stuff. And remember, your goals are things that you haven't achieved yet. So how are you going to get to your goals? It's going to be actions that you're going to take. You're going to need actions to go to your goals. No, you haven't missed it yet, Princess. You haven't missed it yet. Good evening. And hi, Shola, as well. Thanks for joining. You haven't missed it yet. We're still live. You haven't missed it yet. Yes. So honestly speaking, we have got to take these actions that we need to take. What are actions? They're steps that we need to take to get to our goals. We're here and we want to get there. We need to have some action plans to get to our destinations, to get to where we want to get to. But our minds are so comfortable with where we are. Our minds are so comfortable with what we do. I'm a right-handed person, so I get my pen and I'm writing. And I don't need to think about it for me to write stuff. But the minute I get my left hand to actually write, my mind is going to be like, oh, stop, what are you doing? You're not used to this. And that's what happens when we're about to take actions. We're about to take actions to do things that we've never done before, to do things to get to goals that we've not reached before in our lives. So our minds are going to play up with us to say, oh, stop, I'm not used to that. Are you sure? Are you good enough? Do you have enough experience? Are you sure you can really do it? Do you think they will believe in you? There are many things that our minds will keep telling us. So the first key about excuses, and I'll tell you this, and I haven't read this anywhere, this is something that I've made up and I've found out that it actually works, is to actually write that excuse down. Because a lot of times, guys, excuses are actually lies. All these excuses that we come up with are lies. But when they stay in your mind, you believe them more. When they stay in your mind, they're more like facts. So you believe them and you embrace them and you actually obey them. But when you write these excuses down, can you just imagine me saying, oh, I'm a woman. I write that down. And that's an excuse in my mind. And I write that down. As soon as I write, I'm a woman down. Of course I'm a woman, but why should that stop me? So I kind of counteract what I've written. I kind of not even tell myself off, but I kind of just reject that word I have written. If you write it down, it sounds ridiculous. If you write it down, it looks like such an obvious lie. So that is one key that I know it works with excuses. Don't leave your excuses in your mind. Write them down or say them out. When you say, "Oh, I'm not good enough," as soon as you hear yourself say, "I'm not good enough," it's like, "Oh, what do you mean I'm not good enough? I'm good enough. I'm amazing." So you kind of counteract those negative self-talks. But when you leave them in your mind, they stay in your mind and they're actually more powerful in your mind. So the first key to winning over your excuses is to actually write them down. Do you guys agree? Have you tried that before? Okay, Angela says, well, I'll come back to what Angela says. We need to give God something to bless. We can't have nothing and believe for a miracle. Steps are ordered by God, not seats. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Hi, Evelyn. Thanks for joining as well. Very important to have good networks. Yes, very important to have good networks as well. Totally true. The battle of the mind can be overwhelming. Toyi says, yes, exactly. Can be very, very, very overwhelming. Yes. Write your excuses down. Yes, exactly. Write those excuses down, because when you write those excuses down, they sound more like a lie. They sound more ridiculous, and you're actually there to actually counteract it and reject it and reject that. Yes, I'm a woman and so what? I'm good enough. I'm amazing. I can do this. And so you start to counteract them, but when you leave them there in the mind, they're more powerful. So the first tip to get rid and win over those excuses is write them down. The second tip, guys, is action. Action, action, action. And a lot of times with action these days, guys, it depends on the kind of actions that you're taking, because to be honest, a lot of times we've got loads of information, is what we've always said. There's loads of information now in the world today. Information galore. You just want anything, go to Google, how to do this, what to do, what steps to take. They're all out there. But are we actually doing them? Are we actually taking steps to actually do them? Action is what is going to take us to the point we want to get to. Action is what is going to take us out of our comfort zone. Action is what is going to make us successful. We cannot stay inactive and think that it's all going to come to us. We've got to act. We've got to act. And the action actually really is actually counteracting those excuses as well. Those excuses don't want you to take the actions because you're not used to those actions. Things that you're used to, you do it automatically. It's no big deal. But things that you're not used to, your mind will tell you no. Your mind will say, are you sure? Your mind will say, come on, we've never done this before. Are you sure you can do this? You're this, you're that, So action actually makes you go ahead and do what you need to do. You've got to go ahead and do what you need to do. And it's all about taking those actions. It's enough of the talking about it. It's enough of just saying, okay, I will do, I will do, I will do. Now let's get up and actually do. Because when you take those actions, when you take those consistent action, guys, that is when you're saying yes to your life. So the first key is write it down. The second key, as I said, is take actions. But even before you take actions, ask yourself this question. Am I saying yes to my life, or am I saying no to my life? Am I saying yes to my life, or am I saying no to my life? And the minute you differentiate between what you're about to do and the question you're asking yourself, you would know exactly the next step to do. Because if your true answer is that you're saying no to your life, you will be prompted to take the action that you need to take, and stop waiting for perfection, and stop waiting to think that you're going to be rejected. And it's like you start to think, okay, you know what? I don't care if someone is going to tell me no. I don't care if they're going to reject my proposal. I don't care. As long as I'm saying yes to my life. As long as I am saying yes to my life. That's the promise I am taking. As long as I am saying yes to my life. Thank you so much, Ekunsumi. I can see you as well. Thank you. As long as I'm saying yes to my life. Ekunsumi says, plan it, do it, and do it again. Exactly. And a lot of times, another thing with that is that sometimes we hold on to and we stay long in our research. We're researching. Oh, I want to do this project, but I'm researching. But guess what, guys? When you take action, then your research is actually more productive because you now know what you're researching about. If you don't take actions, you really just reading so wide you don't even know what you're really reading. So take actions, and then do your research as you take actions, because as you take actions, you know, okay, Where is the part that I'm lacking in information? Then you go and research on that part. But if you just wait until you just want to do research, sometimes research can go forever. People spend years just researching without actually getting started. So go ahead and start. Go ahead and take the actions. And as you take the actions, the necessary research that you need will be available to you. Because if you don't take those actions, then you won't know what exact research to do. You would go and be reading far and wide things that is probably not even necessary for you. But if you take those actions, then you will actually get to the actual research that you need to do. So actualize your written goals after the other, one after the other. Exactly. Don't rush it. T is saying, I like that as well. Actualize them and don't rush it. Just do it one at a time. Action, small steps is what we're kind of talking about today. So those are the kind of the three main things that I have on on winning over your excuses. Write them down. Write those excuses down. They sound ridiculous. Write them down so that they sound ridiculous and you can reject them. Ask yourself these three questions. This question: am I saying yes to my life, or am I saying no to my life? And that will lead you to actually take action. If you're saying yes to your life, then it's all good. But if you're saying no to your life, then you will find actions. You will take those actions that you need, that is necessary for you to actually say yes to your life. You have got to say yes to your life. We have got to say yes to our lives, guys. As we step out this week, let it be a promise that we promise ourselves. Let it be a commitment that we commit to ourselves, that we will say yes on a consistent basis in our lives. We will say yes. Because life is too short, guys. We don't want to regret. We don't want to look back and regret the things that we should have done, we could have done. We want to go out there and keep saying yes to our lives by actually taking actions. And the 5 things that I have about actions, and I just thought we'll just kind of, it's just points that we can talk about actions. Actions is actually cheaper than planning. Planning is great. You plan and then you take actions. But if you stay on the planning session for the whole of the year, then what are you know, it's actually expensive to do that, because you're not doing anything about what you're planning. As you plan, you take actions. Motivation follows action, and this is actually a good and a very, very key point to note, that your motivation really follows action. A lot of people say they're waiting to be motivated before they take actions. Really, it's action that actually motivates you. When you take those actions, when you see what is working and what is not working, you're motivated to keep going. You're motivated to take the actions. You're motivated to correct things that need to be corrected. That is what you're actually motivated to do. So don't wait until you're motivated to take actions. Motivation really comes from taking those actions, okay? Action as well. Action creates courage. A lot of times, we cannot wait to have that courage before we take action. When you take action, you create courage, because you're doing stuff. When you're doing when you're courageous about something, you're actually in the act of doing something. Your courage doesn't come when you're sitting down. You can't be sitting down and saying, okay, I'm courageous today. Okay, yes, let's do this. I'm courageous. Courage comes as you're taking the actions. Courage comes as you're taking those actions despite the fears. Courage comes as you're taking those actions despite the challenges. That is when courage actually comes. So if you want courage today, if you want courage this week, you've got to take those actions. Yes. You've got to take those actions. I think I'm missing some words. Hi, Fina, following your talk shows. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I hope I'm not missing a lot of the summaries. So we've got to always just say yes to our things. So in terms of action, action is cheaper than planning. Motivation follows action. Action creates courage, as I just talked about. Explanation follows action. Sometimes we're asking questions, but the thing is, when you act, when you take actions, then you have more concrete questions to ask, and questions that you need to ask that will actually lead you to get to where you need to get to. Yes, BC agrees, saying yes on a consistent basis. Exactly. Action beats the odd. Action beats the odd. When you think that, wow, this is so impossible to do, this is not, how can I do this? No one has ever done this before. I don't know of anyone who's done this. Action beats the odd. Take the action and beat the odd. And then the other one I've got here is that action makes you humble. When you take actions, you just think to yourself, wow, so this really worked. And you get humbled, like, wow, so this really, really did work. So action is the key, guys. Action is the key to saying yes to your life. When we say yes to our life, we're taking actions on a consistent basis. This week, as we step out, guys, let us say yes to our lives. Let us stop waiting. Let us stop holding on to those excuses. Let us stop saying, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not experienced enough. We've got to stop that. And if we can stop that, guys, then that means we are stopping to say no. We're not saying no anymore to our lives. We deserve much, much better than saying no to our lives. We deserve much better. So write down those excuses. Honestly, it does work. Write the excuses down. Ask yourself that deep question. Am I saying yes to my life, or am I saying no to my life? And then go ahead and take the actions necessary that you need to take. I'm just going to scroll down a little bit and go to some comments so we don't miss these comments. Thank you so much, guys, for all the comments. Yes, I've read that. I'm saying yes to my life. Evelyn says she's saying yes to my life and she will take action. Exactly. Evelyn, remember those 3 points. Do that. Honestly, it does work. And we should all do that on a consistent basis. In summary, as far as one is alive, the answer has to always be yes, but it's very difficult most times, and most times we end up saying no. Exactly, yes. The answer has to be yes, but a lot of times, because we're allowing our excuses to win over us, we're practically saying no. But we're having a turnaround this week, isn't it, Maureen? We're all going to have a turnaround this week and continue to say yes by taking the necessary actions that we take. Okay? Good, good, good. Thank you so much. I'm saying yes, but some baby steps are required also. But of course, we can't say yes without those actions, those steps. We've got to take some baby steps. Some steps can be big, but we've got to start with the baby steps. Definitely. Definitely, Angela. I definitely agree with you. Hi, Pamela. Thank you so much for joining as well. To overcome excuses of taking actions, I tell myself, Toyi, get up, dress up, and show up. Exactly. I like that. Get up, dress up, and show up. And no matter what we face, no matter the rejection we're going to face, as long as we show up, promise yourself that you will show up. Yes, Toyi, I like that. Motivation comes from taking action. Yes, Bissy agrees with me. Exactly. And Sister Anne, thank you so much for joining. Good evening. Action creates courage. Yes, it does, Bissy, it does. So you guys, that's kind of what I want us to kind of talk about, and not that I want us to talk about. What we talked about today is about taking action and saying yes to our lives. Life is too short. I don't even know how to explain when I think about untimely deaths that happen in our lives. I know another friend of ours, Rachel, she lost a cousin as well. Life is too short, and we shouldn't say no to our lives anymore. A lot of times we don't do it purposely, we don't do it intentionally when we say no, but we say no when we allow excuses to win over our lives. We say no when we believe the lies, the excuses, the lies, that these excuses, they seem justifiable, they seem so real, but they're all lies. Hi, Pamela, how you doing? Good evening. They're all lies. So say yes to your life. Say yes to your life by taking consistent actions. They may not be easy. Actions are never easy, especially when you're doing something that you've never done before. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that they're easy. We're going to have moments when we don't take those actions. Well, the key is actually to step up and start again. The key is to actually just move on and continue and do not give up. I keep saying this: never give up, never give up, never give up, because it's one of my key mottos in life. It's one of the things that I have used, and one of the key words that I've used to just keep going and never give up. We cannot give up on this life. We're here for a time. We're here for a season. So we've got to make the most of our time here. Make the most of every opportunity that you have in the lifetime of the opportunity. Never give up, no matter what challenges you face. Never give up, no matter what obstacles you face out there. Never give up, no matter how many people are telling you to stop. Don't worry, don't bother. Who has done it before? You're wasting your time. Do not give up, because you owe you. Phew. You owe you. You owe you that life that you were called to live. Don't give up. Never, ever give up. That's kind of my take for today. Don't you ever give up. Step into this week knowing that you can achieve what you need to achieve. Step into this week knowing that you've got to do what you have got to do for your life. You have got to keep saying yes. And you keep saying yes by taking consistent actions. Yes, even when there's an element of fear or excuse, keep saying yes. Exactly, Sister Anne, exactly. So thank you so much, guys, for joining. Yes, we're right on time. Thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode of the Chatting with Chichi show. Our desire right now as we step out this week, as Evelyn has said as well, we all agree with her, we are going to take action. So write that down in the comment box if you can, and promise yourself that I'm going to say yes to my life. I am going to say yes to my life. And say yes to your life, guys, by taking those consistent actions. I don't want to stay too long, but yes, thank you. You're accountable to yourself. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You've got to do that for yourself. You deserve the best. You deserve the very best. And life has got the best to give to you. Well, you've got to say yes to it to be able to embrace what life has got for you. So thank you again so much for doing this. Yes, do it afraid. Yes, do it afraid, Pamela. Do it afraid no matter what. Don't wait for the fear to go. Just go ahead and do it. Thank you again so much for joining us today on the Chatting with Chichi show. Remember, I am rooting for you all the way. I'm rooting for your rise all the way. I am going to say yes, Pamela says. I am going to say yes, I say as well. And let us all commit to saying yes to ourselves this week and beyond. We're almost ending the month of March. This is the end of the first quarter. Go ahead and keep saying yes to yourself. You've got to say yes to yourself because you owe you and you need to do what it is that God has called you to do. So keep saying yes to yourself. And thank you again for joining me today on the Chatting with Chichi show, the 31st episode. I am so excited and always grateful to have you guys on board. So for you guys that are watching live, thank you so much. I love you lots. And for everyone that is going to watch the replay as well, I love you loads. Thank you so much for watching. And yes, please keep sharing your comments and share the video when you can. And thank you so much for everyone that has shared this video today. I pray that everyone gets something out of this today and that we take those actions. It's not about just being inspired. It's about being inspired to take the necessary actions that we need to take. So go ahead today and say thank you. And not say thank you. Go ahead today and say yes to your life. Say yes to your life. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you so much, everyone. Mwah. Love you guys. Love you guys. Thank you so much. And have a beautiful and a fantastic week. I'll see you on Tuesday, Sports Tuesday, parents of twins and teens. I'll see you on Tuesday. Thank you, guys. Talk to you later. Bye. See you later. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Bye.